Since Stacy seems to be okay with putting me on blast to everybody she meets, even though a lot of it's not even true, and the parts that are true are usually highly embellished and fabricated or distorted or twisted, as they may as well not be true at all. Leaving out important details and highly exaggerating the facts, just like she did when she told me about her parents were abusive. Yeah, she said she wouldn't let me meet her parents for the whole 6 months we were together. She tried to avoid that because she said that they were weird, right? And she told me all these horror stories about how abusive they were. And come to find out, when I met them, they're actually pretty fucking cool. And all of her stories of abuse were just like either complete bullshit or so highly fabricated and exaggerated as they might as well not even been true. This is according to her sister, who's only 3 years older than her and grew up right next to her. The stories that Stacy tells me about these alleged abuse, I told her sister, and her sister was like, that's fucking ridiculous. That never happened. That would never happen. So, yeah, Stacy's full of shit. And I never understood why. Now I do. She lies about the abuse about her parents because, well, it's kind of hard to get sympathy from people and get people to give you free shit and feel sorry for your dumbass if they know you're a rich girl from Hobart who has everything, who doesn't have to work, whose parents take care of her and her kid, and they live in a small mansion. Yeah, hard to feel sorry for somebody like that, right? So they have to make up stories of abuse. So that's why you're a fucking junkie. That's why you're a piece of shit and abandon your kid. That's why you're so fucked up. No, it's not. She's like that because she's a piece of shit. But she needs somebody to blame. That way, otherwise people would not feel sorry for her. They'd be like, what the fuck? So yeah. So who is Stacy? Stacy is a rich girl from Hobart, Washington, who was a junkie as a teenager and was a heroin addict up until she got knocked up and had her kid in her mid-20s, and then went straight to methadone. I've been on methadone every single day up until she met Meth, which was about a year and a half ago. And then she went completely fucking sideways. And she abandoned her kid. I didn't even say goodbye to the kid. She's only spoken to him once in the year that she's ran away. One time on his birthday, because I made her. I told her I was going to leave her in Oceanside if she didn't. And that was the only time she called him. Yeah, she ran away because she got strung out of meth and was bored. And decided, fuck my kid. Fuck responsibility. I'd rather be a meth whore. And so she started whoring around, literally whoring around at hotels up in Washington. And one dude called me, dude that she was fucking, and said, hey, come pick up your whore. Me and my friends are done with her. So I did. All right. When I was up there, I checked around with the hotels that she was frequenting. Hotels were even like, yeah, she's kind of a whore. Okay. Other whores were like, yeah, she's a hoe. You know, and even people that hung out, they were friends, were like, yeah, she pulls tricks. And like her friend said, or the guy that told me to come pick up my whore, he's like, you know, she's not exactly a whore. Like, she doesn't come up and say, I'll suck your dick for this. But if you got drugs and a place to stay, she'll fuck you. And that's what she does. So, yeah, that's called meth whore. She did it out here, too. A couple guys in San Diego. Either way. So that's who Stacy is. She's a rich white girl. She's not out here because she has to be. Like so many people out here because of circumstance, right? No, not her. She's out here by choice. She could go home at any time. She has a nice house. Her parents are fucking cool. She has a kid. She doesn't have to work. She hasn't had a job in over 10 years. Everything is paid for and provided from her. She doesn't have to work a day in her life, and she never will. But she would rather be a meth whore junkie on the streets than be a responsible mom who doesn't have to work. Her only job was to basically take care of her kid, which her parents ended up raising anyway because she's fucking pathetic, and clean up the house. She doesn't even clean up the house. I was never allowed over there because her house is fucking trashed. It's a 4-bedroom house. Stacy took over the entire basement. There's 3 bathrooms. Stacy took over 2 of them. So both her parents and her kid have to share 1 bathroom, and she gets 2. She's a spoiled little rich girl. That's why she's so inconsiderate. That's why she's so rude. That's why she's so and feels entitled. That's why she's a fucking asshole. She only really cares about drugs. And if you guys don't believe me, cut her off. Don't give her any drugs for 2 days. everybody stop doing that, you will see how fast all of a sudden you'll become her enemy, and you'll get stories of abuse, or whatever the fuck it is, right? These stories of abuse are, I've heard what she's been saying. They're so highly fabricated. Like, there's a thread of truth to some of it, but that thread of truth is just that, a thread. They're big fish tails. Somebody might have caught a fish, but that fish is not a shark. And this is what she does, because it makes people feel sorry for her. All of a sudden, she's a scared little girl who's running from the big, bad, abusive boyfriend stalker. She only says that shit when she's mad at me. When she's not, I could show you a million text messages from her saying, I love you, please, I'm sorry, please, let's talk. You know, I can show you a million text messages. And then the very next day, she'll be right back on the corner going, I'm tired of being scared of you. Somebody, he's my stalker. She says that shit because she wants drugs. That's the bottom line. It always comes down to drugs. It took me a year to realize this, and it cost me thousands of dollars. I didn't want to believe it either, but it's true. Stacy, nobody was going to give her fucking, shoot her up with drugs and fucking give her shit for free if they know that she's out here by choice. She's not a victim. So she has to fabricate these things. She's got to make it sound like she's a fucking victim running from some scary boyfriend. She's not. Not at all. She runs to whoever has the fucking needle and the bag of dope. She does. And you know, if I got it, she's with me. If I don't, then I'm the big bad boyfriend when I cut her off. Then I'm the big bad monster. She's abused. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. And then she's running over to these other fucking spots, homeless spots, telling everybody that she's scared of me and, you know, hiding from me and blah, 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 blah. No, she's saying that because these stupid fucks will give her fucking drugs. You give her fucking points, you let her shoot up, and that's her fucking game. And then when you guys get sick of her, right, or she burns her bridges or gets caught stealing from you guys, or some people like call her out like Black Dan and Poncho and some other people who can see right through her shit. Yeah, ironically, guys that aren't trying to fuck her see right through her. Yeah, when they see right through her shit, then she comes running back to me. It's a fucking game. She's a fucking junkie. You guys don't even know. The other day, she screamed and cried like a fucking 3-year-old, threw a temper tantrum in my van because I wouldn't give her any points. She tore apart the van, kicking and screaming, literally threw pop all over the place, smashed my dash cam, shaking me, grabbed me, trying to claw my face, and she's like shaking hysterically. There's like you would think it was a life and death situation. That's how she acted. And then she told me, if you don't give me the points, well, she didn't say points, she goes, if you don't give it to me, then I'll go fuck somebody who will. And she said that twice. I got that recorded, I think, so I'm going to probably post that and you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. Stacy is a liar. Okay, she manipulates, she uses people. She used me for thousands of dollars. I've spent $3,000 to $4,000 in the last year trying to keep her off the streets, in hotels, gas, food, drugs, you name it, clothes, makeup. $3,000 to $4,000. Do you know in the last year and a half that I've been with her, I've gotten her over 70 hotels. 70. So in the last year that she's been homeless or runaway, basically, 70. So what's that? That's over 2 months. I've spent my own money to put her in hotels, trying to keep her off the streets and from being a junkie. The entire time she tried to lie to me about being a junkie, caused so many fights. She'd disappear and do crazy shit because she's trying to hide being a junkie and run off, and I wouldn't understand why. Because she's a fucking liar. She's a manipulative little junkie bitch. She's a spoiled little rich girl who only cares about herself and getting high. If you doubt me, you think you're really her friend? Cut her off. Don't give her any drugs for 2 days. You'll see. She'll stab you in the back too. She'll steal from you. She'll lie. She'll manipulate and use you too. Just like she did me. Just like she did a lot of other people out here. People are starting to get wise to her ways. People are starting to realize, hey, wait a minute. Why are you here? Why do you choose to be on the street and be a junkie? Why? Guys, she doesn't have to work. All she has to do to go back home is be sober. I don't even think she has to be sober. She just can't be stupid about it like she was before, leaving her fucking pipes and stealing light bulbs out of the house and shit. She is not very smart, and she would rather be a meth whore junkie out here in the streets, hobo dumping through dumpsters, getting cellulitis and other diseases, which unfortunately I found out the hard way. Yeah, you can go ahead and figure the ones that don't go away, by the way. And yeah, she'd rather do this than go home and be a mom, because she has to be sober, or at least pretend to be. She's bored. She's bored, and she's a junkie, and she abandoned her fucking kid. Now, let me tell you this. Any woman who's willing to abandon her fucking kid for meth is certainly willing to suck dick. And she has. She's fucked half a dozen guys. A couple that you probably know. that she would have never even looked at in a million years before she started doing meth. Why did she do it? Because they have needles and they have drugs. That's why. And you know what? When girls fuck guys for drugs, we call them whores. And that's what she is, a meth whore. And that's why I call her a meth whore. I mean that quite literally. Because in Washington, she was quite literally a whore, too. That's why I came up there to get her and rescue her. And I came and brought her down here and she started doing the same shit. If I would have known she was a junkie, I would have never brought her down here. But then I got her here and now she won't leave. Because you know what? If you're going to be a hobo junkie, better be in San Diego. Washington's cold as fuck. And then when we brought her down here, it was cold as fuck. So that's Stacy. She's a rich white girl who chooses to be down here by her choice because she's a junkie. She doesn't have to work. She abandoned her kid for meth. And she whored around. And I've wasted thousands of dollars trying to keep her off the streets. And she lies about her abuse. I mean, like I said, there might be some thread of truth to some of it. It's a mutual thing. You know, I've done some things I'm not proud of, but she acts like, I've heard her stories. 80% of them aren't even fucking true. And the 20% that are true are so highly embellished, they might as well not be. But yeah, she's a liar. She's a manipulator and a user, and all she cares about is needles. That's what all this is about. And if you doubt it, cut her off, and you'll see what happens. Trust me. It took me a long time to figure this out. It cost me a lot of money. So here's the video, and fuck you, Stacy, for putting me on blast and for lying about me. I got more coming for you, Stacy. I'm just going to keep outing you and exposing you until you fucking get out of town and go back home and be a fucking mom.